In today's video, we are going to look at the possibility of Bitcoin going to new all-time highs. The next 3 months are going to be absolutely insane for crypto, according to Money Supply, which has a 90% correlation with Bitcoin. Not only that, we're going to speak also about the new tariffs that Trump supposedly is going to do on China. Really good news for risk on assets. So good video ahead. Let's go into it. So let's start with really good news on China. So Trump I think this was yesterday, spoke about China and said that things are going well and that is expected to have a new deal on tariffs and that the tariffs are actually going to be reduced. If that happens, if China and the United States get into a deal, markets are going to rip because this was the only concern for the markets. Inflation is coming down, interest rates are going to be cut, or at least is expected to be cut this year, at least I think 2 times. Not only that, you have crypto also in a really good place, Bitcoin acting as risk off, similar to gold. I think now people, because there are no tariffs for Bitcoin, is politically is neutral. So I think Bitcoin actually is a better investment than Nvidia or Tesla. And I think people are starting to notice that. So I think crypto is going to have a really strong year with now the tariffs. If everything goes down well, we are going to have the next 3 months really good. And I'm going to speak about that in just a second. So really looking really nice for the risk on assets with this news. As you can see also, other countries are starting to negotiate with United States, Vietnam, Europe. I think in the next 2-3 weeks, everything will be settled. And I think we're going to have 10% tariffs maybe across the markets. And that is really good for us. Now, let's look into the most important thing, Bitcoin. So as you can see, this chart is fascinating to me. So Bitcoin is 16% up. And the S&P 500, the 500 most important companies in the world, is down 5%. We are seeing a decouple from Bitcoin and S&P 500. So in the same time, as you can see, Bitcoin has been outperforming S&P 500 big time. And before we would see a far bigger correlation between Bitcoin and S&P 500. Now we are starting to see a decouple, which is really good. I think Bitcoin is actually a better investment than the S&P 500. Still has its place, of course, but in terms of returns, I think by far is the best investment you can do, especially if you have a lot of money. So Bitcoin decoupling from S&P 500, really good. If you look at the chart of Bitcoin, looking amazing. We had a break of structure right here, which means trend is bullish now. So Bitcoin was in a downtrend for a while. As you can see here, we make all-time highs. Since then, we're just making lower lows and lower highs until here. So we had this break of structure. Now we broke above this key level, which is 89K. So as long as Bitcoin is above 87, 88, I think we are going to new all-time highs. This is a big resistance zone. From here, Bitcoin went from 98 to 73. So people sold around this time. Sellers were more aggressive than buyers. So this is a zone of resistance, of supply, which I think Bitcoin will have a small correction around this level. If not, new all-time highs ahead. According to Money Supply, we are going to have a really strong May, as you can see here. So if you look at Money Supply, it's absolutely insane, just ripping. And Bitcoin has a 90% correlation with Money Supply. And as you can see, if Bitcoin does the same thing, we are going to have Bitcoin at new all-time highs around May. Bitcoin has been falling really well, as you can see, almost the same. So around May, actually already starting to bounce, but I think May will even be stronger. 90% chance over a year. The correlation is really insane. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to keep going higher in the next few months. Another really important thing for altcoins is Bitcoin dominance. As you can see, we are close to last bull market highs, which was around 70%. Historically, you only had a bull market for altcoins when Bitcoin dominance hit 70%. So this time around, we are at 64. We don't have much more to go higher. Around here, I think altcoins are going to have a good bounce. at least a 20% correction I would expect for Bitcoin dominance, similar to here. 20% correction would give really good gains for altcoins. I don't think we're going to have this kind of corrections because Bitcoin now is more institutionalized. You have the ETFs. Just today, I think, surpassed Google in terms of market cap. So definitely we have a good time ahead for Bitcoin. So I don't think we're going to have such a big correction for Bitcoin dominance. Therefore, altcoins are not going to have such a big bull market, except for a few exceptions. I think Tau is there. I think will be the next big thing. I'm going to speak about that in a second. But in terms of Bitcoin dominance, 70% is the level where I think we're going to have a correction. And I think it's going to be in the next 2 months. Another very important chart is USDT dominance. We came into this really important supply zone. I spoke about that on my Discord. If you want to join, send me a message. We hit this supply zone here. Remember, when people are leaving USDT, they are going into crypto. When this is strong, crypto suffers. When this starts to show weakness, crypto has a really good bounce. And I think now this is going to 4% again. This will provide a massive move for altcoins and crypto in general. As you can see here, we are still in a downtrend. As long as we are below 6%, we are just making lower lows and lower highs. So now I expect this to be broken and crypto will continue going higher. Now let's look into Ethereum. Ethereum is at a really good monthly demand zone. It's been horrific, the price action of Ethereum. As you can see here, I spoke about this. I think this is a potential bottom for Ethereum. This was the beginning of the bull market for Ethereum around 2020. From here, Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin around 400%. And since 2021, it went down against Bitcoin 78%. So around this level, even if I think Bitcoin will keep outperforming Ethereum and Solana as well, I think will do better than Ethereum. I still think this at least has a good bounce, even if I'm not a big fan. But in general, altcoins move well when Ethereum is strong. Maybe this is a cycle where that breaks, but for now, it was still the thing I've been looking. Now let's look into Solana. Solana also showing some strength above 150, breaking structure. I think Solana will go to 200 in the next few weeks. One of the safest altcoins out there. The fastest, the cheapest, along with Sui. I think they are the two best layer ones, even if I think Tau is the best risk reward of all of them. Now let's look into Tau. It's been showing tremendous strength. Today we are a bit more slow, but really good price action. This is a really good supply zone for Tau, where I expect some kind of resistance. If we start closing above 364, next level will be between 430 and 500. Tau has been doing really well. Subnets, I have to do a video on that, are really impressive. You have around 100 subnets. Each one of those has amazing value in different use cases. You have shoots, you have Target, you have subnet 8 for trading. You have so many different use cases. You have for pharmaceutical. It's just insane. I'll say subnets are better than 99% of crypto projects. I think Tau is the next big thing when compared to Bitcoin. There is nothing like this. It's a complex project, yes, because it's new. Bitcoin was also very difficult in the beginning to understand. But if you look at tokenomics, community, the amount of people working on this project, I think this will be a 100 billion project in the next 2-3 years. Could be faster than that, to be honest. But I think it will get there. And I think the next 5-10 years, this will hit the same market cap as Bitcoin, or at least get into 1 trillion. I think it will happen in the next 10 years. So Tau looking good, price action wise also very good. If we have any correction around 300, that's a good level to invest. Another one that is showing strength today is Sui. Sui is above this really key level around 285. Another coin that I really like, I think has a lot of potential. I think it's the only layer one that will compete with Solana for users in terms of speed, scalability, really cheap, amazing technology. So I really like Sui. I think he's also a really good investment. So Bitcoin, Tau, my number one conviction, Solana and Sui, I think also really good projects. I could add Hyperliquid there, decentralized exchange, also lots of use cases for this. People don't want to do KYC to trade. So another really important one. So these are the coins I'm looking at. I think May will be a strong month. And I think altcoins are are going to do very well, especially now with this resolution with China and the United States, and also interest rates are going to come low. They are going to cut, the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates, and that's the best environment for altcoins to succeed. So thank you very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed.